Good afternoon, everybody. It's me, Paddy, from across the shuck, and you're very welcome to the channel. And today's a bit of a, it's like a little mild ranty type of a video because it's just, I want to talk about expensive knives and why I have them on my channel and why I show them on my channel, and I gush over some of these high-end knives that I've got. Now, these are not high-end to a lot of other people. These would just be, medium range knives. But to me, these are high range. Anywhere. These are, two of them are just under 300 and one of them's just over £200. That's a lot of money. That is a lot of money for me. And it's where I'm comfortable at spending. And I don't do it that often. A lot of the times I trade, add money to, or swap knives to get these sort of knives in my collection now. I mean, I once had a collection that was probably over 400, not probably, it was over 400. I sold a lot of them off so that I could change my collection. One, I was changing back to slip joints, which I started off life with. And I wanted more expensive ones for me because I like the look of them. Do they cut longer and better than budget steels? Yes. But do they cut is the important part of that question. Yes. And so do £20 knives. Cut. If you can sharpen it, it will cut. It mightn't last as long as these, but it will cut. And if you've got a knife in your pocket that will cut something, that's a tool. So that's my simple breakdown of what knives are to me. Now, do I have safe queens? I have a few knives in my collection that I probably won't use too much because I don't want to damage them, or I still would use them as an everyday EDC. Because in my life, an everyday EDC cuts maybe a box up, but it's usually opening a wrapper, opening a package, taking the cellophane off mistake. That's the sort of thing I have a knife in my pocket for. And that has never changed. A knife is a knife is a knife. So I can get away with a £10 knife for the rest of my life to do most of my cutting. But and some of the things that, people say, use your shit. Use your own shit. Don't you worry about what I'm using. Use your own is my answer to anybody that says that stupid statement. It really bugs me because it's just a lot of nonsense. It's like, I'm better than you. I use my knife more than you. Good. Well done. Absolutely wonderful for you. That's how I feel about it. So you'll not hear me saying that. But I like them for the aesthetics, the looks. I still buy any knife at any range. It has to appeal to me, to my eye. So my eye is going to be completely different than yours. It's going to be like some others, but maybe different to yours. The price range I have, it suits me. It might not suit you. It might not be enough. You might want something dearer. You might want something cheaper. Fine. Go ahead. And I'll enjoy looking at your knives from £20 to £1,000. Doesn't matter. I'll enjoy looking at them because this is my hobby. And I think a lot of people forget that for most of us in the knife community and making YouTube videos, it's still a hobby. Yes, we get wee incentives. You'll get a few pound in AdSense and you'll get a few pound here. But most of the money is coming out of your own pocket, let me tell you. Unless you're one of these huge big channels and you're getting plenty of it, that's different. But I don't want to have that channel. These knives are my collection. They are my little build-up. This YouTube presenting and making videos, that's purely for me. I know that's going to sound very, very stingy, but I do this for me. The fact that you enjoy it pleases me no end. Pleases me no end. The fact that anybody ever wanted to listen to me talking about knives is something I would never have dreamt of 7 years ago. So, but I wanted to talk, and this is the nice thing about the community. There's so many nice people out there that if they have a problem, they can put it across to you in a nice way. And I suppose that's what set this video off. I showed this is the new Jack Wolf knife, Javelina, what way did he tell me to say it? Javelina? Javelina. With an H anyway. So it's the new Javelina and it's just stunning. Look at that profile. It's beautiful. Is that an original profile? No. What's original in knives? Whatever knife you have is going to look like another knife in some way. So that's that out of the question. But it's funny, I showed it with, and this is a difference between two comments that you can get in your channel. I put this one up and somebody said, well, I preferred the case one, Tony Bow's case one. It's more of a gentleman's knife. And that's absolutely fine. This is more of a gentleman's knife, traditionally made with pins. This is not trying to be a traditional knife. This is a modern traditional knife. You know, it's a modern take on a traditional knife, to be specific. It's a modern take on a traditional knife. So what's the difference between this and this? One, this is a beautiful gentleman's knife. There's no doubt about it. I wouldn't have bought it if I didn't think it was. It is beautiful, but it's not that. Is that knife better than this one? It is in materials, but in looks they're very similar. But this is literally just the blade steel on it's stainless, the true sharp stainless steel, which doesn't last a long time. It's lovely wood handles, absolutely beautiful handles on it, and its fit and finish is absolutely beautiful. You can get case knives that are absolutely beautiful. This is one of them. But I never compared this against that because it's two different genres. This is a high-end, nearly custom. In fact, you probably wouldn't get a custom knife made you wouldn't get a custom knife made as precisely as this. It's made with ultra precision. It really is just amazing. And until you've had one in your hand, you really won't know. And that's where the hobby gets you, because as you go up in what you're buying, the next one up, like when I first got a Jack Wolf knife, I had nothing that was in that standard of a pen knife, a pocket knife. Call it whatever you like. In a knife, I had nothing that was that standard in a pen knife. And I had customs that were as dear as it, but they weren't to this standard. And that's the truth. They just were not to that standard. But then somebody else asked me, or somebody else came on and made a comment, which I thought, he put it so politely. You can go back on my channel and have a look. I'm not going to say his name, but if you're interested, go back. It's a really long comment that he was saying he's a hard use user of a knife and he loves the knife, but in long-term use, when he's using it long-term, you know, for a long extended period of time, whether that be whittling all day or whatever his work was, he was using it hard use and he found the edges quite sharp. Now, many's a time on my video I have called this a sharp looking knife because it is cut, the angles are perfect on it. It's nearly like a right angle, although the scale is obviously rounded. But once you get to these edges, it's not sharp that it would cut you. You could rub that all day long and it just wouldn't cut you. It might wear your skin away, but it wouldn't cut you. But it's a sharp angle. And if you're using this long term, he said that it was affecting him, that these were just that little bit too sharp. And he put it in the most beautiful way, explained why he was doing it. And, you know, he still loves the knife, but, you know, it was something for the future. Well, I'd said to him, Ben will probably come in the comments anyway, as he does all of us YouTube, what do you call us? I haven't a clue. Money grabbers. He calls us. But I said he'll come into the comments and he'll give you an answer to what you've put, because Ben does that. He's the most approachable designer I know by far, and he does it every time. And he did. He came back and he told them that he would take it to the manufacturers and see if there's any way they could kind of soften it. But, you know, somebody else had chipped in and said, well, look, I just use a bit of sandpaper, or I use a little file, whatever you want to use to soften. It's only micarta and titanium. They're easy just to take the edge off if you find it sharp in your hands. Like sometimes you find the knife is sharp on the inside. A little bit of sandpaper or a little ceramic rod, you put it in there, rub it along the edge a couple of times, and it takes the hard edge off and cures the problem. So it would never be a problem for me when I've had knives like that. When I'm reviewing them, I tend not to even talk about that, because it's the simplest thing to stick a wee bit of sandpaper and just run it about 3 times up and down, and you'll take that little edge that's catching you off. I don't think that's a problem. I just think, you know, That's I don't even know what I think about it. I just fix it and move on. But when you get the knife that's this expensive, you mightn't want to. You might be frightened that you're going to ruin the value of your knife, which is fair play because, like you or me, I change my knives a lot, and to have them in their original condition is probably better. But there's certain knives that I'm going to keep that I'll not worry about it. I'll just give it a quick file, or if there's a little choil that's not been done properly, I'll just fix it, and they're not problems to me. And I want to get this out that some of the problems that people would find, I don't find they're a problem to me. And then there's problems that I will find other people. It goes either way. We're all just different people and we like or dislike different things. But there's a lovely way of doing it. That fella just made a lovely explanation of it. And I thought, that's really nice. And I wanted to answer him, and I answered him. Somebody else came in and answered him about just softening the sides. It doesn't take much, and you're not going to ruin the knife. But you have to realise once you do that, you're taking away from the originality of the knife. And if that's going to bother you, then don't do it. Do you know what I mean? You have to consider that when it's this amount of money. This is a lot of money to me for a knife, but in hand, I love it. And I don't hard use it, so I don't have any problem with what I call the sharp edges. But I'm talking of it as in an aesthetic and not something I'm going to feel uncomfortable with, because I don't. I don't feel uncomfortable with them and haven't felt the need. In fact, there was one I actually done a wee bit down the bottom. I sanded that off. I forgot all about that. What was that? It was one of the coffin jacks that I just sanded a wee bit of the titanium just to make it more comfortable because it was catching in the back of my hand. There you go. I've already done it and I didn't know. But so there's nice ways of putting things across. And if you've got a problem, other people always have the solution down in the comments. I love it when people help other people who are having a problem of any sort with a knife. But is that sort of money for a knife worth it to me? Yes. But it's only me it's worth it to. It doesn't have to be worth it to you. And all I can do when I'm doing a review, I do very few bad reviews on companies. That's not my place. I know these boys that are out there doing it for they're making a business out of their channel. That's a bit different. But I'm not making a business out. This is me just discussing my knives. This is just me having a chat about the knives I have in my collection. I just adore these Jack Wolf knives, and I don't make any secret of it, but it's genuine. I genuinely adore them. Here's another one that I got this year. It's a Cherbakov, an expensive knife. When he was selling them, they were about 280, but he hasn't made them for a couple of years, so God knows what price they're going to be when they come out. This is the budget Russian knife, £300 budget, but but it's a beautiful knife. I absolutely love it. Am I going to hard use this knife? You bet your bottom dollar I'm not. But I'll still use it as an EDC knife. All my knives are EDC knives. Now, I have a couple of knives that if I want to work hard, I'll pick them up. Like, why would I want to hard use this knife at £300 when one for half the price, the American Lawman, will beat this to death. It's got a good steel S35 VN. It's built like a brick shithouse, and I've soared twice now, and it just drops shut. It's just beautiful. It's a lovely knife to use. So why would I want to use my best knife for that? My best locking knife that I have in my collection. I just wouldn't. To me, that's sensible. I don't know about anybody else. I do carry this and use it for EDC, but I don't put it to any hard tasks. This is one of my newest one, and this is the tactile turn, and this is the bear. It's a slip joint. It's a skinny wee knife. It's much like the Chinese Higo Nakami. It's about that thickness. Do you know what I mean? And why would I pay over £200 for a little knife like this? And look at that milled. This is the company that makes the pens with this milling on their pens. They've done it on the knife. But here's genuinely what attracted me more to it was Maximate. Because I've heard so much about Maximate steel. And again, this goes against everything that I say, is that... Let me just see how I can put this the correct way. I have no need for a Maximate blade. I've got blades that are, this is S90V. I'll never blunt that. This is M390. I never blunt them because I sharpen them in between. And I'll never blunt this. But I just wanted this knife. I liked this knife for a start. It was a really slim, great in your pocket. It weighs nothing. And do you want to know something? It's not much more to step up to this Maximate and the titanium than it is to buy a bug out. It really isn't that much more. And people are buying bug outs now and then adding another 100, 150 pounds worth of goodies onto the top of it, which will take it more expensive than this. But yet I believe this is a better knife. Is it for a long-term use? No. But then again, would you want a hard use a bug out? I wouldn't. Again, I'll go for something like this, or I'll go for something like my 940, proven track record in being really good, useful tools. So, and I'm talking about hard edges. I never hear people saying about, now this is a Para 3, but I brought this out just I haven't got the Para 2 here. The Para 2, when I used it hard, cutting wood, when I was down the caravan, I was cutting wood with it. It is the most uncomfortable knife to use, I found, because it had really sharp edges. It was really uncomfortable. It just didn't, it gave me hot spots all around the knife. My finger inside here was hurting. When I sneaked up, it wasn't comfortable. So the Para 2, for a namby-pamby boy like me with soft hands, give me more pain than that has, or in the Jack Wolf knives. But I never hear people talking about it because it's, it's the popular, very popular knife. It is a great knife. I'd rather the Para 3 and G10 because it's not as harsh in my hands. I can use this all day and it doesn't bother me. But the Para 2 I find really uncomfortable for long use. When I used to do long use, and that was a while ago, I haven't done a few years now, but so there's lots of reasons why people buy knives. I just want you to know, when I buy a knife, I'm buying a knife not only for my channel, but I'm buying it more especially for me. Once I get up to this range, these are for me. These are knives that I want to have about me. Now, I mightn't keep them forever. I might trade them off, and that's exactly the way I change my rotation of knives now, is I have to swap them. But I'll only swap them when I see something that is of equal attractiveness that I know I'm going to, have in my collection for a while. So don't expect to come to my channel and hear all the negatives. It's funny, I was going to do a video on this. Excuse me a minute, I'm going to bring this down. Here's a knife I bought recently. Now, this is a Joker knife. I'd wanted them for my channel because I'd seen Williams Knife Life and all doing it. So I decided I found somewhere over here that done the budget version. This is an olive wood, and the olive wood is beautiful. But look at the blade centering. Can you see that blade centering? There you are. It's rubbing on this side at the end of it, right? Now it locks. It's a lovely little slip joint, but I haven't put it on the channel yet because I don't mind if they're not touching, but when they're rubbing, I can't recommend it. Now, this might be the only one in the batch of knives that he has that is rubbing on the side. It might be the only one. Now, it was only a very cheap knife. I think it was under £20. It's a lovely knife in hand, but because it's rubbing, how can I recommend to somebody to go out and buy a knife that's rubbing? I can't. So it's sitting up there and I haven't done the review. And it's funny, I've been talking about it recently. I don't put knives on my channel that are subpar unless it's something I feel it's dangerous and I need to get out. This is not dangerous, and this will work to the day it wears out. It's absolutely fine. But if I'm going to be honest in the review, I know it's rubbing against there. Now, like I said, it might be the only one in the batch that does that. But who am I to ruin Joker's reputation? Not that I have a whole lot of sway in life, but I wouldn't want to do it against a human if there was something that they'd done that was wrong. It's not my place to tell everybody about it. Like this Joker knife, they make some fantastic knives. I've seen them on YouTube, so I didn't feel that I want to ruin their reputation. But if you're in the realm that you want a knife like this and a bit of rubbing wouldn't bother you, as it wouldn't bother me. But it's not me. The review's not for me. When I do a review, it's for me and you. and I wouldn't recommend this because it's off-centre. Now, I'll probably not buy another one like this, but I'll try a more expensive one of theirs to see what it's like. So this is sitting up there, and it'll go away in a giveaway or something. Do you know what I mean? But there's nothing wrong with a knife. And I would tell people not in a giveaway. There's nothing wrong with it. And Joker still have a place. I mean, that wee knife is, for the price, absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. You know, and if that's the price range you're buying knives in, or you like to buy and have a selection, there's nothing wrong with it. But I haven't put it on the channel simply because it came to me with a rubbing blade. And I'm not going to send an under £20 knife back. I'm not. As I say, it'll go in a giveaway or something like that. It'll be given to one of the grandkids. So that's the sort of reviewer I am. If the knife's on this table, 99% of the time, I'm going to really like it unless it's dangerous because I've picked it. Do you know what I mean? And you pick knives for your collection. Most of the time, you're picking knives that you like. Now, when you get them in hand, you might not particularly like them in hand and things like that, but you've spent the money and you'll keep them and you'll use them. And that's what I'm like. But when I'm reviewing them as a knife, they're okay, they're good, or they're very good. My more high expensive ones, they are really good. I have a couple of customs that I bought in the £300 region that were terrible. They were just mistakes. I just made them, but we all do mistakes like that. We all make mistakes like that. So have I run the custom maker down on the channel? No. No, I haven't. Because that's, I just learn and move on. If you're going to put defective stuff out, or if somebody's going to sell you something that's a wee bit defective, that they must know, I won't use them again, or I won't buy from them again. And that's the end of it. That is the end of it. But I don't need to run people down on my channel. And I don't need to tell people what to do with their knives. Use your shit. I don't need to. That's not what I'm here for. The pleasure in showing you the knives that I've got, like them three sitting down there, I have such pride in them. I love them. They're actually, and there's a story behind them as well. There's always a little story of a knife that you traded to get them or whatever. There's always that little story beside each knife. So they're not just a knife. They're a collector's piece for me. And yes, they might get traded on at a later date, but now I'm in love with them. So I hope that makes it a bit clearer. I just want people to know that don't come on and tell me and shout at me and tell me, oh, that knife's crap because it's like that. Go to the owner. The one that I'm showing you that you're criticising, I'm happy with. Otherwise, I wouldn't have bought it, or otherwise I wouldn't have put it on my channel, even if it was a gift. I turn knives away because I don't particularly like them. There's some that I'm just, they're all right, but they're a good knife. The knife itself is good, just really not my cup of tea. And you'll get reviews like that on my channel where it's just a bit lukewarmish. But that knife might be beautiful to you, and I've at least been able to show you it. If you haven't bought it, I've showed you it. You'll see what it's like. You'll see what it's like in use. You'll hear that I've used it, and I think it's okay. It's a good knife. But being a good knife doesn't mean that it's an amazing knife or an aesthetically pleasing knife to me. Did I cover everything? God, I bet you I've talked for ages. I have. Look, I'm sorry. But I just wanted to put that out. If you've got something that you want to say about a knife that I've done or you disagree with what I've said, please do it. But at least do it in a way that I'm not going to get irate before I answer you, or I'm just not going to answer you because I can't be bothered because you're being rude. Put it across to me and I'll agree or disagree with you. I'll maybe have second thoughts about it and I'll bring it back on the channel and I'll say, here's a problem somebody else has had. Like that fella yesterday who had the problem with the sharp edges because he uses it for hard use. I'll never use mine hard use, so I can't review that knife on hard use. I just can't. There's plenty of other people out there that like using their knives, be they cheap or expensive, for hard use. They're the channels you need to go to check for hard use. You come to mine for a wee bit of crack, go to theirs for a wee bit of work. All right. I don't know whether that makes any sense, but I've new subs coming all the time, and I just want them to know who I am, and what I do. And that's what I do here. I review knives I like 99% of the time. So there you go. Have a lovely Sunday. And don't forget, if you like a wee podcast with 4 or 5 old fellas having a chat round the table. Tonight, 6:30, I'm on RJ's Knives podcast, and it literally is just, I think we're talking about bigger knives tonight, which I'll not have a whole lot of input into, but I'll enjoy the chat with the boys that are going to be on there tonight. So please, by all means, come along and listen to RJ's Knives, 6:30 tonight UK time, which is about anywhere between 9 and 12 in the morning over in the States. I look forward to see you there if you're coming. If not, I look forward to seeing you the next wee video, which will probably be on Monday. Take care. Bye-bye now.